What's going on, everyone? TomGorian back again with my F1 2020 wishlist video. This is the video where I openly talk about the F1 2019 game and talk about what I feel can be improved for the next game, which is obviously F1 2020. We don't know when it's going to come out, we don't know when the game will be announced or released. It might be earlier than June, it might be later than June, it might even be the exact same day as F1 2019 came out. We don't know much about the F1 2020 game, but it is official and it will be coming out next year. So I thought, well, since pretty much they're open to listening to the community around about this time, Christmas time, the end of the year, I thought I'd make a wishlist series talking about F1 2020. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to split this into 4 separate categories: gameplay, online, career mode, and third features. And trust me, you'll want to watch those videos. But for today's video, we're going to be talking about the gameplay aspects of Formula 1 2020 and what I feel like needs to be improved on. But before we start this video, can we please share this video to Twitter and tag Lee Mather and the Codemasters team so we can make them listen to what we need for F1 2020. Also, can we hit 30 likes on this video? I would really be happy if we could hit 30 likes. But without further ado, let's talk about the gameplay for F1 2020. So I've got some notes down here on my notebook just to talk about some of the key aspects about what I would like to see for the gameplay for F1 2020. Mind you, this is just from playing over 200 plus hours of F1 2019, career mode, single player, online multiplayer, and the normal online multiplayer races, and also league racing. We've nearly finished the whole entire season of league racing. I've finished 2 whole seasons of career mode and dozens and dozens of single player and multiplayer races, so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to these features. I asked you guys on Twitter, by the way, follow me on Twitter at TomGorian XVI to pretty much get these tweets. I asked you people to send me suggestions as far as what you would like to see for gameplay wise on F1 2020, and I've actually got some of the things I've actually noted here on my notebook. I think I've got 10 or 11 different talk about features or talking points that I would like to discuss on this game. So without further ado, let's get started. The first one is probably the most obvious one: more durable ERS. I feel like the ERS in this game is way too weak and really unrealistic. The whole community has complained about the amount about how weak the ERS is. You can't even put the ERS onto one single hot lap. You have to switch from hot lap to high, and then from high to medium, and then from medium back to hot lap if it's a qualifying lap. You shouldn't be really focusing on changing the ERS when you're on a qualifying lap. Like even Lando Norris, like I remember, if I can find a video, I'll put it in the video itself. I can remember Lando Norris playing the game, and he even said that Formula 1 drivers in real life don't change the ERS as much as the game does. And I was doing a lap around Brazil, and Brazil's minimum a 65 second, 70 second, maximum lap time, and you're changing the ERS around about 30-40 times. That's unrealistic. And what I liked about F1 2018 was the fact that you could actually afford to run high or hot lap overtake modes on the ERS, and it was more durable, and that's what I liked. With the ERS being more durable, it gave us more freedom to for how to use our ERS as far as the races and qualifying is concerned. It gave us more freedom, and made the strategies more interesting, especially for someone who wants to save the ERS compared to someone who wants to actually use more of the ERS. You would be more allowed to use the ERS because it was more durable on F1 2018. For F1 2019, it's just way too weak. Like in one single race, I'm changing the ERS around about 30, 40, 50 times, depending on the lap. If it's Belgium, like I'll be going from medium to none by turn 1, none to overtake by the straight, from overtake to low on the second sector, change it to high before the third sector, then back to medium or low, and then go to overtake before the bus stop, and then back to low for the bus stop. Well, for the main straight, and then low for the bus stop. You see what I mean? Like, you just can't really focus on actually driving the car when it comes to changing the ERS, and you've got to think it's corner by corner. Like, you got to think turn 1, okay, got to brake here, shift down to this gear, change the ERS to low or medium or whatever. It's too much. I just want to be able to focus on driving the car, making sure I'm hitting my apexes and closing the gap towards the car behind, or extending the gap to the car in front. Well, actually, that didn't make sense. Vice versa. But I don't want to be focusing on changing the ERS system every single corner. It's unrealistic. So for 2020, please make it like F1 2018, where it's more durable, or just make it more durable. At least that's what I want. The ERS to be more durable, so we have more freedom as to how we use the ERS in races. Second wish list idea: virtual reality. Instant game changer. Like, you don't know how big this is going to be if this gets implemented for F1 2020. I know Ben said this in his wishlist video about virtual reality, but this would be a game changer. Like, do you know how many people are screaming for virtual reality? And I'm not gonna lie, I don't have virtual reality. I don't have a VR headset for my Xbox. I should get one now, but I don't have enough money. But I can understand why this is a legitimate game changer. If you bring in a virtual reality headset, that changes everything. It changes the gameplay, it changes the game, it changes everything. Like, literally, you are actually driving a Formula 1 car, like, with virtual reality. Like, it's so insane what we can do with virtual reality, all the games we can play, you know, all the simulators and stuff, and all the scary games with virtual reality. Like, at least bring it with PS4. I know PS4 have a VR headset. If you're going to test it out, bring it for PS4, and then if it works, obviously with the next generation consoles are being announced, then you can put, you know, VAR, I keep saying VAR, VR on both consoles and PC, of course. So I think VR might be the biggest addition for the gameplay that I want next year, because it's literally a game changer. It changes how you look at the car, it changes the gameplay, the overall game itself is more immersive than ever before, because you're actually driving the car, like, with the VR headset. Obviously, it's going to take some time, it's going to take a lot of money for Codes. They're still a small company compared to, you know, EA and 2K, and all these other big companies that will be able to spend money, you know, millions, well, not millions, just thousands on the game. Compared to Codes, they're starting to get money now thanks to the F1 esports and just overall, you know, hype on the game. But virtual reality, I want to see for F1 2020. The third thing I would like on my list is less tire wear. I would probably say more durable tire wear, I feel. I'm not going to go into this into detail. Don't mess up the tire wear much. I'm just saying, just make it more durable by like 1 or 2%, because I feel like the tire wear in F1 2019 is just, I don't know, it's just a little bit inconsistent. You know, you look at the tire wear, you know, before you go out, and you're speculating. Mediums can go like 20 laps or 18 laps, and you get to lap 16 or 15, and they just go off. Like, I remember I had a F1 career mode video where I was on the hards around Spain, which is notoriously known for a high tire wear, and I remember the tires going off on the last lap when I thought they were going to be safe until the end. I just wish that we had more tire wear for next year's game. And what I've heard in the real life sport is that pretty much the teams have rejected the 2020 prototype tire, and we'll be using the 2019 tires for the 2020 season, which pretty much means that Codemasters will pretty much be keeping this year's tyre wear for the next game, but just please slightly tinker it to make sure it's more durable by 1 or 2%, so we can actually make a distance work, or we have more freedom in strategy. Wishlist idea number 4, make the AI more aware. On track, make them aware of, situations, and just make them aware of overtaking other cars and actually being overtaken. And just like dive bombs and stuff, I just feel like the F1 2019 AI is worse than last year's AI. I just feel like they don't have any awareness when it comes to, dive bombs and, overtaking and being overtaken themselves. Like, you try and go for a lunge on a car, like an AI car, chances are if it's like a chicane, they'll just force you out wide or just, push you off to make you cut the corner. Like, so many times when I've been playing this game, I've been trying to go down the inside of an AI car, and all they've done is just push me. Great examples, the chicane in Suzuka, the 2 right-handers in Suzuka as well. What else can I say? Probably the Lesmos or the chicane, the Irish chicane in Monza. Other examples as well where you try to overtake the AI on the inside and they just give you no room, and then before you know it, there's contact, and chances are you have front wing damage, so you have to flashback. You have to flashback that BS. So please, AI, just make the AI more aware of who they're racing, when they're being overtaken, and when they're actually doing the overtaking, because the AI are good on F1 2019. They are good. They're very challenging. They're very quick when you want them to be. Very consistent with the recent patches as well in the rain and the dry. I just wish that the AI would be more aware about where you are and more aware about where others are on circuit, because they just don't have any awareness, especially when they're being overtaken, when you're coming through down the inside and they just turn in on you like you're not even there. Sort it out. It needs to be fixed for next year's game. Make the AI more aware. Number 5, the ability to break Parc Ferme and start from the pit lane. This is probably the second or third biggest idea when it comes to gameplay, just because of the amount of people that actually want to see this feature. It's not like you can't do it in the game because it's not in real life. It actually happens in real life where, you're going out and you set up, let's say you're in a league race. And pretty much you've loaded in the wrong setup, you can't change it because of Parc Ferme, and like the qualifying's dry but the rain is wet. So you're like, oh, for goodness sakes, I'm going to have to start the race on a dry setup. I'm going to have no traction, no downforce. And you get pole, but you're going to be screwed for the race. So how about you have the ability to say, actually, you know what, screw this. I made a mistake and I couldn't change it. Let me break Parc Ferme rules, allow me to start from the pit lane, and let me change my setup so I have a wet setup. That way, it's more realistic and it gives the player more options as far as what to do on strategy. Because especially when it's like a dry qualifying race or vice versa, you all know a driver that messes up their qualifying when they pick the wrong setup, and they have to use that setup for the race, and it's a complete different weather system in the race compared to the dry. Some of us, some people I've even raced with, in recent weeks have even done that. So I just think this would be a big feature, considering the fact that it can happen in real life, and it would be great to have the ability to break Parc Ferme and just to start fresh from the pit lane with a new setup and just try and get a decent race. Oh, here's a good idea. Max fuel engine mode for the race. The amount of times that we've been hearing in real life about give me full engine power or max engine power, mainly from Ferrari or Honda or Red Bull, about how to give the drivers full max engine power. We should have the ability. So if you notice in qualifying, we have 4 different fuel modes: low, medium, high, hot lap. Those are the 4. Those are the 4. Well, actually no, it's 3. It's only Actually, no, yeah, it's low, medium, high, and then max. Max is the fuel mode that you use in qualifying, along with hot lap ERS setting. But in the race, there's only 3 engine modes instead of 4. Why can't we select max? Like, why can't we select max? But don't put it in as just a regular option. Like, if you're like behind a car or defending against a car, then like treat it maybe like DRS, where like if you're close enough, then you're allowed to use it. If you're not close enough, you're not allowed to use it, if that makes sense. I think it would be a great feature to have for the gameplay, you know, to really make more battles, especially online with the F1 esports and league racing. It would add more dimension towards having great battles, and really make and create that intensity of defending a position or overtaking a position when you have max fuel setting. Plus the fact we've heard this constantly in real life, and I think it'd be a great feature for the gameplay. New celebrations / animations for F1 2020. I did say this last year when I was doing my wish list for F1 for F1 2019. I did say this. I'm just hoping. I mean, we did get one new celebration, but that was just the new default celebration. I'm talking like new driver specific animations. You know, Sebastian Vettel, the Egyptian walk. You know, Daniel Ricciardo and the Shui. You've got Bottas and Hamilton and so many other drivers, you know, have their unique celebrations. Why can't we see that? You know, why can't drivers act like themselves after they've won a race or they're on the podium? You know, just act like themselves. You know, it's really weird just to see. It's weird and boring to see the same old generic celebration at the end of every race, and it gets old super quickly. No matter how many times you want to update it, it gets old quickly because we see it every single race. So can we just please have new celebrations / animations, or just driver specific celebrations for when they win a race? And you know what, I'll actually talk more about this in online and career mode when those videos come out. But for now, just give us new celebrations / animations, or driver specific celebrations. Red flags. Big massive feature for F1 2020. We have not seen red flags since F1 2013, I want to say. I think F1 2013 was the last ever game to have red flags, because I don't remember F1 2014 they had it, and then ever since F1 2015 and the modern day consoles came out, they have not had red flags. So hopefully we can bring red flags into F1 2020 as well. Alright, so I've only got 3 more ideas for this video. We're nearly done here. The third to last one, manual pit lanes. So what I'm saying is pretty much you actually drive in, you brake for the stop, and then you have to actually accelerate your way to your pit stop. Now, this might be a little bit reaching when it comes to bringing in these features, but I think it would actually be sick to have an option for actual manual pit lanes, where you come in, you put the pit limiter on, and you drive to your pit box, and you have to literally, with your wheels, steer in to your garage. It might be wrong. I mean, I think iRacing do this, Assetto Corsa as well. I think they do this, and F1 2020 is the official video game of Formula 1. So why can't we have this? Why can't we have manual pit lanes? Pit lane entries and manual pit lane exits. I mean, we already have manual, but we don't really have manual pit lane exits as far as, you know, crossing the white line. But I'm just talking total manual for the pit lane. Come in, you brake, you put the pit limiter on, you spot your pit garage, and then you steer, turn, and brake in towards your pit garage. That to me would be sick for next year's game. Customizable tire allocations. I cannot stress to you how many league races want this feature for F1 2020. And to be honest, this might be the most it's just the most, disappointing feature that we have on 2019. Before the start, like let's say you're in a league race, and before the start of qualifying, you have tire allocations. You get softer, normal, or harder compounds. It's so frustrating to pick the same old tires. So for the softer, you pick 4 softs for that whole session. For the normal, you get 3 softs and 1 medium, and then for harder, you get 2 softs, 1 medium, 1 hard. Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to stick to a certain amount of compounds for this session? Why can't I have 2 softs and 2 mediums, or 1 soft, 3 mediums, or 1 soft, 2 mediums and a hard, or 1 medium, 2 softs and a hard, etc. Do you get what I'm saying? Why can't we have the ability to actually say, okay, here's what I want to do. I'm gonna go. I'm not going to go with the hard tires because the hard tires suck around this track. So what I'm going to do for hopefully it's a dry race, I'm going to go 2 soft and 2 medium for the entire session. Like, it's so frustrating to stick to 3 different allocations on the game for a league race. Why can't we have the ability to fully customize our tire allocation for next year's game? It's so frustrating. And finally, the main event of this video, laser scanned tracks. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, aren't the tracks already laser scanned for F1? No, apparently they're not. Apparently they're not, according to Lando Norris, who said that COTA, there's a couple of tracks that are not really as accurate. So for example, Suzuka, the bump before the last chicane, it's not even there in real life. So why is it there in the first place? I thought Suzuka, what was it, F1 2017? I thought Suzuka was more updated on F1 2017. So why is that bump there when in real life the bump isn't there? It's just a slight downhill, clink in towards, the start-finish straight. COTA is another example. There's a lot of elevation zones and a lot of bumpy corners that are not there for F1 2020. Lando Norris even said that the F1 game representation of the circuit to the Americas is actually wrong compared to the real life. So I think Cody's, obviously that's going to take a lot of money, a lot of technology improvements in order for this feature, or most of these features, to even happen. But I hopefully think if we get probably half of these features in for next year, I think it's going to be a success. So just to round off this video, here's what I want for the gameplay for F1 2020. A more durable ERS, VR, less tire wear, make the AI more aware about where they are, start from the pit lane, aka brake Parc Ferme rules, maximum fuel engine mode for the race, new driver celebrations slash animations, red flags, manual pit lane exit and entry, customizable tire allocations, and laser scan tracks. I will be back for part 2 of this series, where I'm going to be talking about the online of F1 2019 and what can be improved for F1 2020. Mainly I'm going to talk about the customizable features. Obviously with 2019 they brought in the whole customizable car, driver's suit, gloves, and etc. And for that video I'm going to be talking more about that than the gameplay. But thanks for watching. If we could hit 30 likes, that would be massively appreciated. If you have any more suggestions about the gameplay for F1 2020, make sure to leave it down in the comments, and make sure you share this video to Codemasters and Lee Mather so they hear what we want. It's about time we start putting pressure on them for what we want as a community for next year's game. Thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.